very exciting things happening here at Just Dig It Farms. This right here is where I've been spending most of my time this week. Right out here in the goat pen. We brought this little guy home Sunday from Cattywampus. Oh. And then Monday, Chloe had her babies. So I brought me a chair out here. And this is where I've been spending a whole bunch of time. Out here with these sweet baby goats. All this cuteness, I just can't hardly stand it. I have to come love on them like every hour. Oh my gosh. I'm never gonna get weeds in the garden pulled. Gene's been out of town, so he hadn't even got to see the babies yet. So we are going to let Gene see our new babies. Are you excited?
Oh yes. So excited.
Oh my gracious. What's up, babes? Chloe, good job.
Chloe! Good morning, Mama. Good morning, Mama.
Hey, Chloe, you did a good job, girl. Proud of you.
I wish you could have been here. It was something to see.
Look at this. Look at it. Yes. I love my goat babies.
Or not. Oh my gosh, y'all. I am in the kitchen putting squash up, and Gene calls my phone. He went out to put the baby goats up for the evening, and Honey has a surprise for us. We've been watching Honey because we knew like any day now she was going to be having a baby, but there was no signs of it today. So I don't know. She just decided she was going to have her babies, and she did it. Let's go see. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Good Lord, we got 5 babies here, plus Tony. He's still a baby. Oh my gosh. Look at them. Where's the other babies?
Chloe's hiding in there.
Look at these babies. Where's she? Where is Honey?
She's eating.
She
She had them right there.
They look like Chloe's babies.
Yep. Well, Chester.
They all look alike. Well, when did she do this? I mean, they're all cleaned up and...
I just came in here to feed them. I've been cutting grass, and I was going to feed them for the evening, and I come in, Honey wasn't at the gate, so I was like, oh my gracious. I walked in here and...
Look at all these babies. Holy moly. Look at all these babies.
Good job, Honey.
Look at them. Oh my Lord. Honey, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you, girl. Yes, I am proud of you, girl. Chester is a proud papa. Aren't you, buddy? Huh? Are you a proud papa? Yeah. Well, Annabelle had her babies. All right, let me tell you guys what's been going on. This morning has been pretty emotional this morning. So last night when we came to put all the babies up and to get all the animals situated for the night, we could tell Annabelle here was going into labor. So we tried to do everything we could to like make her situation comfortable, and I could tell we were making her pretty nervous So we left. But I just kept coming back out here throughout the night and checking on her, and she still hadn't delivered. So I went on to bed, and sometime between last night and this morning, she had 2 babies. Didn't you, Annabelle? You had your 2 babies, huh? And this is the little boy. She's letting him nurse. She's taking really good care of him, and she seems to be doing really good. So Annabelle rejected the little girl. She completely rejected her. So we were shocked and thought, dang, Annabelle only had 1 baby? And we walked around to the stall and went inside the stall, and there was a little baby walking around. This little girl. She was walking around with her umbilical cord dragging, and she was just barely walking around. She was crying, and I don't know how long she had been like that. Somewhere between midnight and 7 a.m. this morning probably, she was born, and had been all that time where Annabelle had rejected her. And she didn't get any colostrum that I know of. I'm pretty sure she probably did not, because Annabelle wouldn't have anything to do with it. So I picked her up and took her over to Annabelle and tried to get Annabelle to let her nurse. Annabelle wouldn't do it. And what Annabelle was doing, she was taking and nudging, nestling up her other baby to her, and then just taking and headbutting this one and knocking it across the pasture. So she wouldn't have nothing to do with her no matter what I did. So I took this one, I took her into the stall with Honey. I thought, well, maybe Honey will accept her and start nursing her as her own baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Well, Honey wouldn't do it either. She wouldn't have anything to do with her, and she kept headbutting her, knocking her out of the way, wouldn't have anything to do with her. So I put her in with Chloe. Well, Chloe definitely wouldn't have no part of it. Now, Honey's my sweetest goat. She's the sweetest one. She wouldn't do it. So then I put her in with Chloe. Chloe got her horns up underneath her and slung her way up in the air, and she wasn't having no part of it. So I had to make a quick decision, and I got the baby up, brought it in the house. I had some leftover colostrum supplement from where we bottle fed and raised Chester, and I mixed up some and gave her some, and she took it immediately. I'm trying to get her to take her second feeding, but she's been doing good. She's just been nestling up next to me, and she's been doing really good. So I think she's gonna make it just fine. But this means I got a baby to bottle feed. I think I might have a good home for her. I know somebody that I would feel 100% confident in, that she would take care of her and love her and raise her and be super happy about it. And we'll see. We'll see. They're praying about it. So we'll see. But she's precious. I just can't understand why Annabelle would reject her. I don't know what happened. I mean, I didn't see any signs of anything. Annabelle was nursing the other baby just fine, and she's taking really good care of it. And I mean, sometimes a mama will reject a weak baby, someone that maybe has some problems that they sense that it's going to die, and they'll reject it. But this baby is fine. I mean, it's fine. Now, there for a little while, when we first found it, it was struggling. But, I mean, if it survived all night long, and she's this healthy right now and doing this good, I don't see that there would be anything wrong with her. So that's all of our babies to be born. Chloe had a little boy and a little girl on Monday. Honey had 2 little boys and a little girl on Saturday. And Annabelle had 1 little boy and 1 little girl last night, which was Monday night, or this morning, Tuesday morning. Not really sure exactly when she had them. So we've ended up with 7 babies, and they're all good. They're all healthy. The mamas are all good and healthy. We just had this one that was rejected. So I still don't know why, but it's okay. We're gonna make sure it survives. Now I'm walking into my garden, and I haven't been here very much. Jean hasn't been here. Jean's been out of town most of the month of May on business trips, and I haven't been here very much. We've went to the beach. We went to see our son to a conference. We've been to, I spent a day at Head Family Farm. I've been going to my mom's and trying to help her get moved in and settled into her new home. And we just spent the weekend at Cattywampus Acres in Georgia. And we have just been all over the place. And this is what happens to the garden when the gardener is not home. Roses need to be pruned. Most of them have finished their show, and they need to be pruned back and fertilized so that they'll repeat bloom, most of them. Lettuces are going to seed. Weeds are taking over the beds and the pathways. Potatoes are getting ready to be harvested. Cabbage moths are all in the garden. The rose arbor is going crazy. It needs to be trimmed up. I've got a few squash plants over here dying. That right there might be why. Mr. Champ keeps fertilizing them. I've got squash that's overgrown. Oh my goodness, look at this. I need to pick. Oh no, look at these. Look at these zucchinis, probably the size of baseball bats. Not too bad. My tomatoes are in bad shape. They need to be pruned, tied up. Wow. I tied them up right before I left this past weekend, but tomatoes grow so fast. And I've got all these little suckers that need to be pinched out of here, and we need to tie them up. I need to work on that. Look at all the squash I need to harvest. And then I need to put it up. Preserve it. I've got broccolis that need to be harvested. That's good news. I've got a bunch of areas that I haven't even planted yet. Like this bed, I haven't planted any of my beans yet. I'm so behind on all this. This bed of potatoes, I think it's pretty much ready to harvest, most of it. At least the first 2 rows back here. I'm pretty sure they're ready. I checked them the other night. That's the red New Orleans, and they look like they're ready. Now these are the German butterballs, I think. I think they could take a little bit longer. My grapevine's going crazy on my arbor here, and look, we've got some grapes. Yay! Now this bed right here, I haven't even planted anything. I'm going to plant some okra, some different kinds of okra that I have. I'm going to plant them here. The only thing I got planted in this bed was some peppers. This bed right here is the sad situation. This whole entire thing is taken over by weeds. I had this bed all cleaned out, looking good, ready to plant, and the weeds and the armadillo or possum or whatever he is just taking over my bed here. So I got to get this weeded and cleaned back up and get something in the ground. This right here is a prime example of what happens if you just leave the soil bare. Nature wants to grow. So if you leave it bare and you don't plant what you want in it, the weeds will come up. So I never got this bed planted. I had it all cleaned out and ready. Never got it planted, and here's what happens. This is nothing but weeds. I've got some my blackberries over here on the trellis, and I've got some goji berries here, and then my Jerusalem artichokes and some echinaceas and some blanket flowers. This whole end is just weeds. Goodness. I've got to get my garden weeded, planted, fertilized, harvested. I've got a lot of things to harvest. Now, right before we left, Gene did do the little market garden for me. So he tilled it all up. He raked out all the grass. I wasn't here, and he was just knocking it out. He tilled it up, raked it out, tilled it up, raked it out again, and then he planted this whole garden all by himself. I didn't help do anything. So he planted all these hills of watermelons and cantaloupes, and then he's got, I think, 4 rows of corn and 2 rows of okra. Okay, y'all, so I've got on my get down and dirty garden clothes here, and I am about to tackle this bed first. Can you believe what a mess this is just because I didn't plant it? Oh, man.
Hey, darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city light.
So the beautiful thing about having really good compost and soil in your garden and having good mulch is when it does get full of weeds or any weeds, they're really easy to pull up.
Pack our bags and get in that car. Leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday.
Hey, it is not hard to pull these up at all, and you can see how big they've gotten. So this won't be bad. I can knock this out pretty quickly, I think.
It's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for 2. Hey, darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time. Driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car. Leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
I finished weeding the bed, and I just went through and straightened my rows back up where that armadillo just wreaked havoc out there. But I was having my lunch break, and I was doing a little bit of research on this corn, this glass gem corn that I ordered from Baker Creek. It's very, very cool. Let me tell y'all a little bit about this corn because it is beautiful and it's got a very interesting heritage to it. It was developed by selective breeding, and it's a type of a flint corn. And a flint corn isn't corn that's like necessarily meant to just eat fresh off of a cob. It's more of a corn that's used for like popcorn or for grinding into cornmeal. So it's not just a fresh corn. So you leave the plants on the corn stalk until they're completely dry. Now it says that the kernels lose their vibrant colors and they begin the drying out process. And they're harvested when the kernels are hard as flint. And that's where it comes from, the name of it, flint corn. The history is what's so super cool to me about this corn. It dates back way before the 1800s. So I believe most all of us know that corn was a main staple of the Native American tribes, and they grew all different kinds of corn, all different kinds, and they used traditional and sustainable practices to grow these types of corn. So over time, as the Native Americans got relocated, which is a nice way to put it, some strains of the corn were lost. And sometime around the 20th century, an Oklahoma farmer named Carl Barnes wanted to grow older corn varieties as a way to reconnect with his Cherokee heritage. So he began to exchange seed with people all over the country. What's really cool to me about Carl Barnes' story in this corn is he was able to reconnect elders of different tribes through these specific different corns that he was collecting and gathering. And the corn literally represented to these elders their bloodline, their language, their cultural and spiritual identities. And that is just really neat to me, how, you know, a plant, a food has so much meaning spiritually and culturally in your family. Like, I can think of different things growing up that I ate, and it reminds me of my grandmother. It reminds me of my grandfather. And I just think that is really cool, that connection to food and to people and their culture and their history. To all those people that Carl met and befriended, he was known by his spiritual name, which was White Eagle. So by selecting seed from the most colorful cobs, over time, his selective breeding led to the creation of beautiful rainbow-colored corn. Now, Carl met a farmer named Greg Schoen, I believe, S-H-O-E-N, or Shin or Schoen, in 1994. And he passed on seeds and this passion to him. And over the time, Greg was able to develop more vibrant and vivid colored varieties. You guys have been here with me very long. You know that I love the history of plants and the connection that plants have with our ancestors and our past and history. And I just think it's so super cool, this story. Grow this corn basically just like you grow sweet corn. It's a warm season annual vegetable. You need to wait till the soil warms up to like 60 degrees or more. You need to plant it in full sun. You need to try to plant it where it's not direct wind hitting it, because it will blow over the stalks. So it's basically just like growing sweet corn. You do want to plant it just like sweet corn in blocks of at least like 3 instead of just a long row. You need to try to do them in blocks where they're closer together, because corn is wind pollinated. That's with this kind of corn, flint corn, and your sweet corn. So the main difference about this corn is it's a flint corn versus a sweet corn. So you harvest it when it's dried out, and you use it to make popcorn or cornmeal, or you can even add alkaline to it and make it into like a hominy. So you're gonna harvest this in the fall instead of summer. So this is gonna take like 100 to 110 days before it's ready from seed until harvest. So if you live in an area that is a shorter growing season, then you may not be able to grow this corn because you've got to wait for it to warm up to plant it, but you've also got to wait like 110 days before it's ready to harvest. So you're going to be harvesting this in the fall when the husks are completely dried out and brown. So you're leaving this on the plant until it starts drying out. And then once those husks are dry and brown, what you'll do is you'll remove the husk from the stalk. You'll peel back the papery husk and you'll see the beautiful colors. But then you take the corn and you're going to spread them out on a drying rack, and you'll turn the corn daily just to make sure it's completely drying. You're going to know when it's fully dry when you can't place your fingernail in a kernel of the corn. It's going to be hard as flint, and that's where the name comes from. So when it's completely dry, you can use those corn kernels for many years. You can use it. A lot of people use this, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen this corn on Pinterest or Instagram. They use it for decoration, which I want to use some of it as fall decoration. I think it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to kind of leave the husk on it a little bit and let the blue, the different colored, all the rainbow color of kernels show too. I think it's really going to be a pretty decoration for fall. But I want to also try to make some popcorn out of it. And I think it'll be super cool to be able to grind some and get some cornmeal out of it. I've never done that before. So I want to try all the things with this corn. But one thing that I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to save some of the kernels and replant them next year. Because this is an heirloom variety. So it will be true to type when I save the seed and plant next year. Now, one cool thing that in my research I found out is you can save like the specific colors, save the most vibrant, vivid colors, and you can end up with some really interesting corn next year. So I'm excited about growing this corn. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be something fun and new to try, and it's going to be really cool to me to hopefully be able to make some cornmeal out of this and to pop some popcorn out of it. Now, it did say, what I read did say that when you pop the popcorn, it loses the color. So it's just going to end up being the normal color of popcorn. So let's go get these seeds in the ground. I've got my bed ready. We're ready to plant. Let's go sow some seeds.
Hey, darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey, darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the country.
I was planting my corn here and thinking about the history behind the corn. I was thinking I might do in this bed, I might try the Three Sisters method again, which is where you plant corn, beans, and squash or pumpkins. And that's a way that the Native Americans planted a lot. They did the Three Sisters companion planting. So I think that I am going to give that a try again. I've tried it multiple times and it's never worked out right. And I watched a video on it. And one thing I think that I was doing wrong is I was growing sweet corn. And the video was talking about how when the Native Americans planted and grew the Three Sisters method, that they used this flint corn. They used the fall harvesting hard kernel corns for grinding meal and that kind of thing. And that's the corn that they used when they did the Three Sisters method. So I was thinking while I was planting this corn, I'm going to give it a try again. I'm going to give it a go again. And what I'm going to plant in here is some pumpkins and some pole beans, some probably Kentucky Wonder pole beans that I'm gonna plant on it maybe. And the pumpkins that I'm gonna plant are the ones that I saved seed from that I grew last year. The green and the white pumpkins, I grew them for Chance and Renee's wedding that was out here in November. And they were beautiful, they were just gorgeous, and they were so pretty as decorations for the wedding. And I saved seed from those. So I think I'm going to plant some pumpkins here with my glass gem corn and probably some pole beans. So we're gonna give this a try again. I'm gonna see if it'll work again. Maybe the whole thing was because I wasn't planting the right corn. I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with the Three Sisters companion planting method that the Native American Indians use, but some of you may not be. So I don't want to take for granted that somebody knows something and you're like, well, what is that? So what it is it is companion planting corn, beans, and squash or pumpkins. So what you do is you plant your corn seed first and you let it come up a good bit, and then you put your bean seed right beside the corn and the corn stalk, and the bean will use the corn stalk as a trellis for the bean to climb up it. And then in turn, your legume, your bean or pea, adds nitrogen back to the soil for the corn, because corn is a heavy feeder. And the squash or the pumpkins, you're growing them as like a ground cover because it helps to suppress weeds and keep weeds out of your corn and your beans. Plus, the corn and the beans shade the squash or the pumpkin leaves, because you know those big leaves, when they get too hot in midday 100 degrees weather, then they just start wilting and they just start looking really, really bad. So that's the whole companion planting of the Three Sisters, and I'm gonna give it a shot again. Wish me luck. So these are the pumpkins that I'm gonna plant, seeds that I'd saved. This one is that's the green one. And the white one is the flat white borer pumpkin. And these are the two that I grew last year. So I'm gonna put just a few of the pumpkins in here amongst the corn rows. I'm not gonna put that many because pumpkins just run like crazy and they'll take over this whole entire bed and eat up my blackberries and my goji berries, and I don't want them to do that. So I'm just gonna put in just a few in here and see how that goes. I'm gonna plant pumpkins in another bed when I harvest some of my potatoes. When I take those out, then I'm gonna run pumpkins behind them. But for this Three Sisters garden, I'm going to just do just a few in here. Okay, y'all, we got this bed done. Yay, one bed down. So I got all the weeds pulled. We got the corn, the glass gem corn planted. We've got the pumpkin seeds planted. I only did like three, and that's probably gonna fill up that whole bed. It's amazing. And I tied up my blackberries a little bit. So this bed is done. Now this is my strategy that I try to do. It's really easy to get distracted out here and to get sidetracked and, oh gosh, there's a weed. Oh, that tomato needs to be tied up. Oh, I need to plant that bed, and just bounce all over the place and never get anything accomplished. So I try to go with this strategy of one bed at a time. Okay, you guys, we got a little bit done out here today in the potager garden, and we've got all weekend. We're gonna be home. We're not going anywhere. Jean told me my answer for the week and for the weekend is no. When somebody asks me to do something, my answer is no. So we are staying home and we are working on some projects, and we got a lot of things going on this weekend, and we're gonna bring you guys with us. But for today, I'm gonna say goodbye for now, friends, and thank you for hanging out with me today in the potager garden. Actually, thank you for hanging out with me all week. This video is clips of all week of me getting sidetracked by baby goats. So thanks for hanging out with me. God bless y'all, and I will catch you on the next video.
Yeah, the countryside is so pretty with the wind life I